So if you've seen my other videos, yes, my predictions of the worldwide economy collapsing slowly coming into fruition. You'll see a lot of companies that'll be exposed for their deceitful acts. Some large ones, we've already seen bank stirs go bankrupt and collapse. You'll see the same types of things as Enron. I mean, the Enron case took many months, years later, for people to actually accept the fact that it did what it did. But I see the credit world crashing and getting even worse. Seriously, there won't be anyone that won't be unaffected by the market collapse. You will see things like gas go to $5, eventually milk, things like milk will hit $6 or $7 per gallon. And while I don't see the shortage of many things necessarily at the moment, you will see prices so high that you'll have to forego things you take for granted right now. And if there's people now that really can't afford to, or scrounging around to trying to afford to live, wait till the what hits the fan. And I mean, it's sort of already started now. But as things progress, it will get worse. In that, you're going to see more companies like Best Earns, and they will collapse. There's going to be lies exposed, and you will see bankruptcies, more like Enron, probably even worse than the Enron case. That's pretty serious, I know, but it's bound to happen. I see many people losing their jobs in many areas, many fields, not just the labour workforce. I think when I saw oil hit $100 a barrel, it was pretty clear to me that this avalanche has pretty much started. And I think really only the strongest of companies will make it through the rough period, i.e. serious recession into depression. Companies that have been in business for decades will obviously collapse, and anyone who's been living off credit will be in serious trouble. People who think jobs are secure, they're going to probably be unemployed. It'll last a couple of years. The goal is to live within your means. You need to pay off your debt, work 2 jobs if you have to do that, to prepare. Stock up on goods that will last a while. Buy in bulk, buy food in bulk if you can. Grow a garden, learn to grow vegetables and that sort of thing. And be prepared to work in an area outside of your field, just in case you do lose your job. I guess it's always good to be prepared. I think realistically, I know I have predicted the price of oil going up high, but in 2009 I think oil supply will and the costs will be one of the main contributors to the coming depression. And also, credit's maxed out for individuals and companies. It will take very little to push the economy to the brink. People who think they're on a high horse, comfortable with their rich cars and houses, they'll quickly see the harsh reality of the depression coming throughout the world. It's going to affect the world. A lot of people will be affected no matter their race, their social status, or their different jobs. But I guess the good thing about this, the good news is that we will all learn something from it. Obviously, yes, there will be a period when the market and the economy does recover. That's a long way down the track, but the world will grow from this experience. And we'll be forced to work together. We'll be able to create different strategies to bring us back to normalism, or some sort of normalism. But I don't really see that until maybe 2010 at this stage. The market, as you're seeing, like I predicted many months ago, it is destabilizing. You will see lots of more of that in the coming months, probably behaving more like a roller coaster. Many big up days, many big down days. But I think what really hammers the market on occasions is when natural events trigger it off. So maybe like an earthquake or a natural event that way, or a terrorist attack, that really sends the market crumbling. So I think an even bigger crash will be coming when something like that happens, in sync with the bad credit news that's coming out. Will sort of be a double whammy. And eventually when the market does come down, it will come down hard. You're talking, like 1,000 points on the Dow. Like with the Asian market back in January, where there was 12 consecutive down days on market. And it will really be a bad time and wipe a lot of people out, yes. I think at this stage, if you're not really in sync with the market, you shouldn't be fooled by the ups and downs of the stock market. They're all lies, it's false. The bigwigs find it pretty easily to manipulate the market, at least right now. And when you see the depression hit, there's going to be people that can barely afford to make ends meet. Some will have to rely on handouts from the government, programs to get food, soup lines. If you heard of the jokes around there, well, they're not actually jokes. Eventually, if it gets really bad, there'll be serious consequences for a lot of people. I think that where the problem lies is there's too many people, not just in the US, but all over the world, that have actually turned into this sort of worshipping of the material world. So they're sought to gain lots of money and obtain things that their neighbours don't have, like cars and big houses and boats and all the rest of it. And all these people that do, as they say, worship the almighty dollar, and money is everything, will be an end to all that sort of thing. As companies you thought were solid really aren't solid and will go bankrupt. People will lose their retirement, yes, and their 401ks, and many people will probably end up on welfare. Which is what is that? A strain on the governments. And there'll be a lot of hard decisions that'll be forced, and that'll leave many people out in the cold, literally. And I can see that leading, back into a lot of hardship. People will probably protest, might go into some sort of, violent rioting or whatever you want to call it. But it won't be a pretty picture. I mean, looking at, I'm a pretty avid sort of internet user, but looking at places like Bloomberg and CNBC, and you have a look at some of the headlines, and it's basically all lies. The truth is that many companies, they put out all these great reports and say they look great on paper, but behind the scenes it's actually a lie. And it can go on for some period, but eventually they'll have to fess up and the lies can't go on. So at this stage it's really a good time to think about, obviously, if times get hard, I guess your priorities and your life priorities are going to change. Like the basic essentials. So if you had a choice between having to pay for cable or having to pay for, let's say, your heater, well, obviously you'll have to pick the heater, and that will probably lead into other things like if times get hard, people will stop going out to eat at the restaurants and that sort of thing. So the service industry is going to take a massive hit with that sort of thing as well. And I really don't want to go into it, but you're going to see like a ripple effect on the economy, businesses in different industries. Every single industry out there, whether you like it or not, will be impacted somehow or some way. And obviously you and everybody else will be affected somehow as well. And I think too, another good point is, if we go into some sort of financial trouble and the American government decides to go to war, they're going to have a rough time trying to support them. And that'll obviously get pretty ugly. So probably cut it short there. Just giving you a little bit of warning and time to sort of look after yourself and sort out your financial issues at the moment. Focus on what is good and try to fix yourself. And I don't really want this to be dire, but it'll be a very, very long trying time. There's no doubt about it. And while I don't see too many of the banks closing, I think you'll see a lot of people down the track that'll have difficulty accessing some of their money or large sums of money for a long period of time. And the limits that one can withdraw on, say from the ATM, they're going to start reducing all that. And things will come clear later after the depression comes apparent. Now, while I can't tell you what to do with your money, you can already start to see bad things that could be coming. And I really urge you to take the best precautionary measures for your sake and your family's sake. Anyway, enjoy hearing your feedback. Let's help each other out. Remember to take action here as the US economy slowly sinks. Okay, that's just some of my predictions. I want to thank you for listening today. More updates coming very soon. Have a great day. Talk to you all then. Bye.